speaking engagements a year, and I am fired up here today because we are joined from a special guest all the way from the UK. We've got Suman Mangra, who is a mindset and empowerment coach. And kind of, people, we were talking a little bit about this, Suman, talking about the manifestation maven, which is kind of how people talk with you and kind of relate to you. Thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Brian, and thank you for having me. Really
Awesome.
excited about sharing some great information and tips today.
Awesome. Well, we were talking a little bit before the show. We got to jump right into the manifestation maven. Talk to us a little bit about what that means exactly. We've got a lot of coaches on, so I don't think you're going to have a problem getting into the energy side a little bit with them, but tell us a little bit about what that's all about, if you don't mind.
Perfect. So the manifestation maven actually came from when I actually had another coach that was my clarity coach.
Okay.
And I was going down that route that a lot of coaches go down and consultants about what is my niche, what is it that is my speciality, who is my core people that I want to support, or what is my core message. So as I spoke to her and I started unwrapping what I'm about and what I love doing and what the core of everything underpins what I do, it was around the law of attraction. And it was helping people manifest what they need to manifest in their lives at any particular time. So when we explored that a little bit more, we came up with manifestation maven. Maven meaning somebody who's like the master or the go-to person for that type of topic. So even though there's so much more to what I do, the high level was what I found as the umbrella of the core of what I am.
That is awesome because, when we were talking about having you on, one of the things that really came to me, and I think a lot of our listeners will be interested in hearing, is as service practitioners, whether it's a coach, consultant, whatever the case may be, therapist, just service practitioners, there is a conversation around being able to be successful, obviously, because we're practitioners at heart, right? We want to be able to do stuff for people and move people forward and help them.
That's
But
right.
on the flip side, there's also this idea that we need to make a living, right? Like there needs to be something where, how is it that we can kind of, one of the things I talk about is ethically attract clients without being pushy. How is it that we can work with people in this space of integrity and also be able to make a living while we're doing this? And one of the things, again, why we kind of connected on this area is that you have a conversation around energy and you have to have a conversation around business energy. So talk to us a little bit about what that means exactly, because I think this is a really good starting point, because I think for a lot of people, they actually might be inadvertently holding themselves back, and I don't even know if they know it yet.
That's absolutely true. There's some, I did an event on the weekend and I had a lady on there who's an addiction recovery coach, and she spoke about her journey, and she spoke about how she's noticed a pattern of self-sabotage.
Right.
And it happened from a deep-rooted time from her childhood. And she said that she would stop relationships from blossoming and spoil relationships she was in, or in a work situation, she'd always end up messing things up somehow because she did realize she was doing it to herself in the end. And self-sabotage is something that either people understand that they're doing it and keep doing it still, or they don't even know that they're doing it.
I think one of the things when you talk about self-sabotage and you talk about business energy, I think one of the things is that charging what they're worth. I think, I'm just talking, but and we can charging what they're worth. I think, there's a population of people, maybe those who are listening, who consider marketing to be like a pawn of the devil, right? Like it's this, oh, whoa, I can't believe, you're doing this. But talk to us about how you're able to get people to either, my girlfriend likes to say, think a different thought, or is it what is it that you talk to people? Because if they're like, boy, you know what, I've absolutely been holding myself back. What is it that you do to make them see, or again, think a different thought?
So it's part of what I do, because I'm also an NLP practitioner. So I'm a master's NLP practitioner and hypnotherapist. There's a lot of language patterns that I look at of people, how they speak, how they talk about themselves. And if they're talking about that, they can see that they're holding themselves back. It's about unraveling that and opening up that package and being like, okay, so why would you be holding yourself back? What's going on here? And it's about getting under those layers, because it's all layered on top of each other usually. And it's the under layers that we start understanding that actually the core of the problem is that they fear rejection, or they fear failure. They might be fearing success. And that's the real story of what's actually going on with them. And then it's that fear that's coming up from their subconscious roots. It comes into their behaviors and their habits, and then their actions. So then they're doing actions that are jeopardizing things, so to speak. But if somebody's not aware that they're doing it, as we talk about what's happened and start uncovering their journey about, so what's happened over time, what's been going on with you, and they'll start talking. And as they're talking, I'll hear it from the words they're saying or the information that they're giving me, and I'll start unpackaging it myself. And I'll say, well, let me just hold you there. You've just said this and you just said this. I'm seeing a bit of a similarity here. I'm seeing a bit of a pattern. Like an example I'll give you. I had a colleague of mine that she felt like her manager was out to get her, so to speak, and that she's jeopardizing things for her. And then I said, okay, so how was it with you when you had a previous manager? So then they start talking about it, and they're like, oh yeah, that manager was the same. And then it seems that all of a sudden they've had a number of managers. They all seem to be the problem. And then I'm thinking, is every single manager the problem, or is there something else going on with the way you're responding or reacting to these managers? And maybe then they're reacting a certain way with you. And then the person, they may not always admit it straight away, but with time, when they're being true to themselves, they'll say, actually, yes, maybe there is something that I'm